Hello, Jisung. Thank you so much for joining us today on Heart to Heart. Would you, first of all, like to begin by saying hello to our viewers that are watching?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Jisung Chun, Korean Liquor Sommelier, and a founder of my company, Soy & Rice. Thank you so much for having me here today, and I'm very excited to be sharing my stories with you.
Jisung Chun, winner of a traditional alcohol sommelier competition, is at the forefront of publicizing Korean alcohol to the world.
Is here called 과하주. 과 means passing, 하 means summer, and 주 means alcohol. So it literally means passing the summer drink.
She immigrated to the United States at the age of 12, but came back to Korea as a sommelier. Today on Heart to Heart, traditional alcohol sommelier Jisung Chun introduces the value of Korean alcohol.
Okay, so we have some alcoholic beverages or liquors in front of us. Could you explain to us what each of them are?
Sure. There are different varieties of Korean drinks here. So the first one here is called takju or makgeolli. So takju is the original brew, and makgeolli is essentially the watered down takju.
I see.
So it's called takju because when you drink it, you shake it, and make it cloudy.
Yes.
And takju means cloudy.
Uh-huh.
And then here is yakju, which is clear drink without the sediment. So this, back in the days, people thought that this is more premium and precious. So this was offered to the yangbans and during the chesa.
Oh, okay.
And then if you distill this, then you have soju here. So you can see it's clear liquor, usually higher in alcohol percentage. And then here is Korean fruit wine. We ferment Korean local fruits into wine. So this one is omija.
I've never actually, so it's omija. Oh.
Yes, that's why it's
I've never
commonly
tried
said.
that before. I've tried makgeolli, yakju, as you mentioned, and soju.
Right.
Soju is a bit too strong for me. I'd love to try that, but which drink can I actually try right now? I'd love to taste, actually, I'd love to try all of them. But,
yes, these are all good. But how about today we try yakju?
Yakju, okay.
So this one here is about 15%, which is the original brew strength. So this one is made with only rice, nuruk, and water, and has a very interesting flavor if you would receive the drink.
Thank you. With two hands, very Korean way.
Yes, of course. And the reason why you receive with both hands is because back in the days when people wore hanbok, the chogori has a very drapey chogori rice leaf, so you have to hold it to get it out of the food and the drinks.
I see. Okay, so I will try a sip
Enjoy.
of the yakju. This is actually quite sweet. This is good.
Yes. So what's very interesting about this drink is that it's only made with rice, but it has a little bit of citrusy, flavor to it. It's sweet, and that all comes from the natural rice during the fermentation process. And then it finishes slightly bitter, so you kind of want for more because it's got a nice balance of the sweet, tartness, and the bitterness.
The sweetness, of course, as you mentioned, is not the very sugary sweetness, but it's a very, I don't know, yes, it makes you want to take another sip and just finish. So I'm going to take another sip, actually. This is really good. So all of these drinks are served cold.
Yes.
Chilled. They should be very, very cold.
Yes.
Chilled.
But soju you can drink at a room temperature, or you can warm it up in the wintertime if you like to drink a little bit, warm to kind of keep you warm from the cold weather.
Actually, I see. I've never tried warm soju before. And actually, I guess we can talk more about how makgeolli is, people prefer to shake it.
Right.
That's the way it should be drunk. But some people prefer to have it just clear on the top, the clear part of the makgeolli. Okay, this is wonderful. Okay, I think we're going to have to take a quick break. Joining us today on Heart to Heart is Korean traditional alcohol sommelier, Jisung. Let's take a break and check out how she publicizes Korean traditional liquors around the world.
This is where Jisung Chun works. She introduces Korean traditional drinks to foreigners.
Here. So not all of them are good for fermentation, but each one of them does play a very interesting role in fermentation. Here is a different type of a drink from the makgeolli. Makgeolli is also cloudy too, right? So this is takju and this is takju. The main difference is that makgeolli has more water, and that's why it's lower in alcohol. So this is about 5 to 10% in alcohol. This is original brew, so this is anywhere from 14 to 20% in alcohol. So much stronger, it has much strong flavor and color and aroma.
She plays an important role by introducing traditional liquors and holding tasting events.
I think the biggest charm of the Korean rice wine and the spirit is that it has such a long history. Whether it's made about 1,000 years ago or 100 years ago, there's there's a heritage and there's a legacy to it. And the fact that it's actually made at home by women of the household, she was in charge of the brewing and she was in charge of educating her daughters or the daughter-in-laws, and the legacy continued from the mother to the daughter-in-laws. So I think there's such a beauty to the history and the legacy.
So you introduced yourself as a Korean liquor sommelier.
Yes.
We all know that a sommelier is a wine professional. But what exactly is the job of a Korean liquor sommelier? What exactly is it that you do?
So Korean Liquor Sommelier or 전통주 sommelier is more of a new thing in Korea, and there are very few of us in the industry, so not that many people are aware of what we do. We are in charge of the Korean liquor and wine expert, and we are here to educate the consumers on the Korean drinks.
I see. So sommeliers usually they recommend certain wines, and there's wine pairing as well, so they're in charge of that. So I guess you focus mainly on Korean liquors and in wines.
Yes.
Now, a representative, I guess, Korean traditional alcohol or Korean liquor that comes to mind, that first comes to mind is makgeolli for me.
Yes.
But what exactly are Korean liquors that are considered to be traditional, when we say really traditional liquors or Korean traditional wines? What's considered to be traditional?
Right. So in Korean liquor law, the definition of 전통주, which is Korean traditional drink, has a variety of different types. And the first one is takju, which tak means cloudy. So when you drink it, you shake it, and it becomes cloudy, so that's why it's called takju.
I see.
And the makgeolli that you mentioned is essentially more of a lower alcohol content takju. So it's a watered down takju. So that's why it's much easier to drink. It's lighter. It's also easier to drink on such a hot day. And then there is a clear wine, which is called yakju. And then if you distill yakju, it becomes soju.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, so soju is much higher in alcohol percentage because it's a distilled spirit. And then interestingly, in the definition of the 전통주, it also includes Korean wine, fruit wine. It's a wine fermented with Korean local fruits like omija, pear, or persimmon.
Oh, persimmon and pear.
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting.
And there are also requirements to be considered as 전통주 as well. So it has to be first drink made by 식품명인, which is the Grand Master of Korean drinks. Then secondly, it's drink Korean registered as Korean intangible cultural assets. And then thirdly, it's drinks made by farmers or breweries using local Korean ingredients. So there are about over 700 registered breweries and wineries in Korea around the whole country. And there are more than 2,000 kinds of drinks. And most of them are makgeolli, but they also include yakju, soju, and Korean wine.
That's amazing.
Yes.
How many have you tried?
Out of 2,000, I've probably tried about 400 kinds.
400, that's a large number. Do you plan to continue to try more and more? Are you trying for 2,000?
Well, hopefully I'll get to that number. But for now, yes, every time I see a new drink, I always have to try it. And I, take notes so that I can remember.
Hey, this may be an odd question, but do you drink well? Do you enjoy drinking?
I enjoy the company. I'm pretty good. I can handle myself.
And this is what you do. So you've got to have your favorites. Which 3 kinds of liquors or traditional wines would you recommend our viewers to try? What are the must-tries, the 3 must-tries, and why?
So that question always comes up, and it's always a tough question because I love them all.
Yes.
But I do have favorite, and those 3 drinks actually here. I brought these 3 with me today. So the first one you see is called 천비향.
Okay.
It's 약주.
The tallest bottle.
Yes, the tallest bottle. And this 천비향 is actually for me first love.
Really?
And this drink is the reason why I decided to come into the 전통주 industry. The first time I tried this drink was back in 2014. I went to an event hosted by Chef Royden. He was doing 전통주 pairing with French food. And to me, that was such a new experience, 전통주 and French food. And I really loved it. And it's made with rice, but it's got such a mellow sweetness, and it's got nice fruity and nutty flavor that I just couldn't believe that it was made out of rice. So this is my first love.
Okay.
And then, along the way, you meet new love. So that's the 풍정사계, which is the middle one. So this is another type of 약주.
I see.
This one is also made with 100% rice. But this one has a slightly more citrusy flavor to it. And it has a slight bitter finish as well. So it's quite refreshing, and it's something that you keep going back to because that nice bitterness kind of lingers after that. You keep thinking about that was very nice.
Maybe I'll try another sip.
Yes. So then after a few number of loves here and there, you get your heart broken, and then you finally mature to enjoy the sweet bitterness. And the last one, 감옥로, for me is an adult drink. So it's 감옥로 is soju, so it's quite stronger, and that one is infused with many different spices. So it's definitely a sip and drink for me. When I'm home alone and have lots of things on my mind, I just pour myself a small glass and just sip and enjoy, and think about life.
Oh, I'd love to try all of these. Yes. Well, soju also, as I mentioned, I didn't know that there were so many different types and kinds of makgeolli.
Yes.
I've also learned that there are many different kinds of sojus out there as well. It's a very pretty bottle for a soju as well. I'm also curious how the foreigners responded. How did they like Korean liquors or traditional wines? What did they say about it?
I must say, overall, people had a very positive experience. But obviously, people, depending the region and the country they're from, they will have different preference on what kind of drinks they will like. So from my experience, the folks visiting from the Asian countries tend to like takju or makgeolli better.
Is there a reason why?
I guess they're just more familiar with the rice, and the texture of the cloudy drink. And then the Europeans or Americans, the English speakers, they tend to prefer 약주 or soju. Because that's something texture-wise, that's something that they're more familiar with. So it's for me, it's quite interesting to see. Okay, well, it's obviously drink is a very personal choice, but that kind of I can kind of group that into the categories of where they're from.
Clear ocean in Jeju Island's lingo. So this brewery is located in the Jeju Islands.
After hearing detailed explanations of each traditional liquor from sommelier Jisung Chun, they get to taste it. What do the foreigners think?
Kind of smells sweet. It smells very sweet.
You get to taste a really nice nuttiness, sweetness, and very burning, sharp flavor.
Oh, rest in peace, my throat.
But you can tell. Too strong for you?
Too strong. Oh my goodness. Her explaining anything and everything about the alcoholic drinks. I was engaged in what she was saying. I really liked it. I was just so into it.
So the part that, this is the part that's the best part of my job, that I get to actually educate others on Korean alcohol and let other people about, Korea does have more than just the makgeolli and the green bottle soju that you normally see in the market.
So, Jisung, you moved to the United States when you were 12, and you lived in New York with your family. This was until you returned back to Korea. So, how did you actually become a Korean liquor sommelier?
So when I came to Korea, I wanted to learn as much as possible on very Korean traditional stuff that I could only get in Korea. So I started taking Korean Buddhist temple food, which is Korean-style vegan food cooking, for about a year. And it was really fun. I always loved food and drinks. So for me, learning about a new type of cuisine was quite fun for me. Then from there, I moved on to how to make tteok, which is rice cake. And then moved on to Korean traditional snacks like hangwa. And they were all very interesting. And the more I learned about it, it all involves on fermentation. So then I wanted to learn more about how to make chang, which is soybean paste, and gochujang and so on. Then I guess the last step is alcohol. So, as I mentioned before, I went to the pairing event, and that's when I was really mesmerized with how can a single, ingredient like rice could give such a different flavor and complexity. And that's why I decided to learn more and just continue from there.
Now, I understand that you won a gold prize at a contest. It was at the Korea Best Sommelier contest. Now, this was in the foreign participants category. So please tell us about this contest.
So each year, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fishery and the Food Trade Corporation of Korea host a Korean Traditional Liquor Sommelier competition. So there is the Korean section, and then there is the foreigner section. And because I'm U.S. citizen, I went on to the foreigner section.
I see.
And it requires three steps. The first stage is a written exam on the history and the knowledge of the brewing.
Oh, wow.
And then the second is blind tasting. So I have to guess what the alcohol is, the maker, the alcohol percentage, and the ingredients, and so on. And lastly, the third stage is I actually need to go on to the stage in front of the judges and the audience. And there are a number of questions on what is this drink? Tell us about it on spot. I also need to give recommendation on what food will go with it. So that's when I went through, and thankfully I won the first place.
Wow.
제7회 국가대표 전통주 소믈리에 대회 외국인 본부 영예검상 전지성.
네, 축하드립니다. 한국인뿐만 아니라 외국인에게도 널리 한국 그 전통주를 홍보하는 일을 열심히 하겠고요.
That's amazing. I mean, how long did it take you to prepare for this contest?
So since I gained my interest in Korean alcohol in 2014, I've never stopped taking classes on brewing and also cooking to learn how to pair food and drinks together. And I also learned about sake, wine, and beer to broaden my knowledge in different perspectives. But to prepare for the competition, I really went through 2 months of boot camp that I will meet with a small study group, and we will meet once a week, and we, not kid you, we tried 40 drinks each session, and we had to memorize the flavor, the characters, and then the last 3 weeks we did blind tasting of those 40 different kinds of drinks.
Wow. It's amazing the kinds of questions they ask you, of course.
Yes.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I understand that not so long ago you also publicized Korean, liquor to foreigners at a gallery called Sul Gallery. So
Yes.
tell us about this experience. Were there any frustrating moments or memorable moments that you would like to mention here?
Yes. So I just finished my time at the Seoul Gallery. I've worked there as Korean rice wine sommelier for English program and the Korean program. The fun moment for me is so we're starting to get more people from the industry who wanted to carry Korean rice wine at their restaurant. And with the recent Michelin guide star coming to Korea last year, I guess there are more demands from actually foreigners visiting Korea who will go to these Michelin restaurants and ask for Korean specific drinks.
Yes.
So these staffs from Michelin star restaurants will come to the Seoul Gallery and they want to learn more about the Korean rice wine and the liquor. So I actually got to say that I trained these staff at the Michelin star restaurants in Korea.
Wow, wonderful. So, what would you say is the charm of Korean traditional wines or just overall in general Korean liquor?
For me, it's because of the history. Well, yes, I am Korean and this is a Korean product, but there's actually quite long history behind it. And the more I learn about things, there is more to than just the history. There is this whole science behind the fermentation and how, back in the days, people without the whole science knowledge, they were doing things naturally that were actually quite helpful for fermentation and whatnot. And I thought that was always quite fascinating. And then there's the legacy. I think it's quite important to keep something that's, started from back to, preserve to now, but it's for me. This legacy is not about keeping how in the old traditional way. It's more of how do I interpret it in the modern sense and pass on to the next generation. So it's the legacy, the story, and sharing with people that I'm fascinated with.
Yes, I can feel that you really, really enjoy what you do. Now, Korea is one of the countries that happens to have the highest alcohol consumption rates in the world. We love to drink. Many Koreans are social drinkers. We enjoy each other's company, having a few drinks together, and we even say we become friends after having a few drinks together. But it seems as though, although people enjoy drinking, not as many people know much about traditional rice wines or traditional liquors. What do you think can be done, or what do you think we should do to kind of raise that interest in people?
Right. The reason why people don't know so much about these Korean rice wine and liquor is because of the history. For about the past 100 years, Korean rice wine and the liquor went through restriction and prohibition period. So these were just gone in the market for about 100 years, which is 3 generations, is long forgotten. So now that it's coming back, I think, people need to see this more often everywhere. So I would love to see this easily, spotted at convenience stores and marts and restaurants. And I hope that, the staffs working at these restaurants not only just bring whatever the customers order to the table, but also explain what this is about and how they can, the consumers can enjoy the drinks better and give, offer recommendations.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah. So when we go to have wine, for example, we always, or almost always have someone telling us about which part of which country this is from, and they tell you about the taste. So yeah, hopefully that day will come very, very soon.
Yes.
I heard that you also have immediate plans as Korean Liquor Sommelier, so tell us about that.
So with the soy and rice, I will be going around to different restaurants and hotels. I already have a few clients lined up to educate the staff on Korean liquor. And then I will be going to the Philippines to host an exhibition on Korean rice wine and liquor at the Philippines Korean Cultural Center. So I'm really excited for the opportunity. And then thirdly, in September, there will be a event called Seoul Bar Week held in Korea. So essentially, it's a convention for professional bartenders and people who are interested in drinks. And during that week, I will be teaching about Korean rice wine and liquor.
Okay, and perhaps how soju or different Korean liquors can be used to make cocktails?
Yes, for the exact reason.
Yes, that sounds wonderful. Well, once again, time is up, so we're going to have to say goodbye, but I wish you the best of luck with your Korean culture centers, I hope. As you said, you want to open up your first one in the US.
Yes.
Hope we'll get to see many, many more popping up here and there around the globe. And also best of luck to you with your exhibition in the Philippines. Thank you once again for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
감사합니다.
고맙습니다.